Thursday, October 12th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including a Stratford couple charged after their son was found wandering the neighborhood, state police taking animals out of some horrific conditions, and more local news, as well as a preview of our front pages this week. Frank Rita will have your Nutmeg Sports update and a look at the forecast, and Donald Lang joins us later to take a look back on this day in history. But first, Bridgeport police are investigating a homicide after a man was found naked and shot 7 times Wednesday evening. WTNH reports that the 24-year-old man was killed after being shot 7 times at the Green Homes apartment complex. He was found naked and appeared to have been high on PCP. Bridgeport police believe the shooting happened around 5:30. The man's identity has not yet been released, and that shooting remains under investigation. In other news, a Stratford couple is facing risk of injury charges after Stratford police said their child was found wandering the streets alone early Friday morning. Thomas Yem, 62 years old, and 51-year-old Wendy Canfield were arrested last Friday and charged with risk of injury to a minor. Police said the couple's 2-year-old son was found at 6:30 in the morning, October 6th, by a jogger then the child was found wandering the streets. Police said the child was taken by a neighbor and kept safe until police responded. Police said neighbors told officers that this was not the first time that the child had wandered off. Now, the child was placed in the care of the State Department of Children and Families. Yem and Canfield's attorney, Mark Sherman of Stamford, said Wednesday that the couple's 2-year-old boy got out of their home because of a mistakenly unlatched back door, which he said has since been fixed. Sherman added that the boy was returned to his parents after a quick investigation. He said these are dedicated, loving parents who are happy to have their son back home. And Eric Von Cohorn, the former Wilton preschool paraprofessional accused of 1 count of illegal possession of child pornography in the 2nd degree, will be released from prison October 20th after serving 2 years behind bars on a 6-year suspended sentence. That, according to corrections officials. Now, Von Cohorn will have to register with the Sex Offender Registry and will need probation authorization to access the internet once he's released from prison. He had served the bulk of his sentence at Enfield Correctional Center, but was recently transferred for reasons unknown to the Brooklyn Correctional Center in Brookline, Connecticut, a medium security facility. He will serve 10 years probation. Now, Von Cohorn was originally arrested by state police in August 20th, 2014. He was charged with first-degree possession of child pornography and promoting a minor in an obscene performance. He was arrested after an investigation by the Connecticut State Police Computer Crimes Investigation Team, which commands the state Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Now, later, the state dropped the charge of promoting a minor in an obscene performance and reduced the charge of possession to a 3rd-degree offense. There's a lot more on that story at wiltonbulletin.com. And Darien police arrested a Trumbull man on an active warrant after he repeatedly attempted to duck away from a patrolling officer. An officer was patrolling the area of Post Road at 6:15 p.m. on October 3rd when he saw a man sitting in a parked car duck out of view as he approached. Well, the vehicle was parked in a parking lot, and as the officer passed again, the man ducked a 2nd time. The officer then approached the man, who identified himself as 24-year-old Benjamin Patrick of Trumbull. A check of Patrick's information showed an active arrest warrant for DUI and reckless driving stemming from an incident in Norwalk. Patrick was placed under arrest and transferred into the custody of Norwalk police. And state police report today that they have rescued several animals from a home in Litchfield. On October 9th, troopers assisted Torrington Animal Control at 365 Beach Street in Litchfield after Torrington Animal Control received an anonymous complaint of animal neglect at the address. 2 dogs and a cat were determined to be in poor health and were surrendered at the residence to Animal Control. On October 11th, troopers and animal control officers served a search warrant at the residence. As a result of that warrant, 16 live rabbits, 4 live adult cats, 3 live kittens, as well as 2 dead kittens and 5 live chickens were seized. Now, although the animals were seized, troopers and animal control officers continue to investigate. And a complaint filed by Weston Board of Finance candidate Robert Matchson has been closed. In the complaint filed on September 18th with Weston police, Matchson, a Republican, claimed he was harassed by Democratic candidates Brian Gordon, Chris Spalding, and Susan Mock while he was handing out political campaign flyers before the start of the dog park public hearing back on September 9th. Now, Matchson said the three yelled loudly at him to stop handing out the flyers, saying what he was doing was illegal and that he should get out immediately. He also claimed Gordon moved towards him, forcing him to exit the building, although the two did not touch. Now, in the incident report, police found Matchson was not violating any policies by handing out campaign literature. The complaint was deemed closed following a decision by the state's attorney's office not to review that case. All right, taking a turn now, going to throw it over to Frank Granito and get a look at the forecast. Frank, it's a beautiful fall day out there.
It's starting to feel like fall as well. Temperatures sitting in the mid-60s right now, a high of 65 today. And we'll see some clouds giving way to sun as we get a look at Route 8 going southbound outside the studio right now. Winds around 12 to 16 miles per hour later on in the day. It'll be partly cloudy overnight and a low of 50 degrees heading into Friday. Variable cloudiness on Fridays. We see patches of sun and clouds mixed throughout the day. Winds around 10 to 13 miles per hour. Mild tomorrow night with a low of 60 degrees and plenty of cloud cover. That's going to bring on some passing showers early Saturday morning, hopefully clearing up by Saturday afternoon when we get ready for kickoff between New Canaan and Greenwich from Cardinal Stadium. A high of 72 on Saturday, so a little bit warmer than we're seeing right now. Mostly cloudy overnight, a low of 66, warm and muggy before what's probably going to be another humid Sunday around Fairfield County. That'll do it for this weather update. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. We're going to step out for a break. When we come back, Donald Eng will take a look back on this day in history. Frank has your Nutmeg Sports update, and we have more local news after this.
Voted best gourmet to go in Fairfield County, Palmer's extensive menu offers everything you'll need to make your next event easy and delicious. Whether you're hosting a small get-together or planning a large celebration, they've got you covered breakfast through dessert. Order online at palmersdarien.com or call 203-655-2077.
Now teeing off, Paul Miller from Miller Nissan in Fairfield.
Excuse me, Mr. Miller. What about my new Sentra?
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
He is never going to retire.
Bankwell combines the best personalized service with high-tech banking features for our customers' convenience. We pride ourselves on being a strong community partner. You don't settle for average in anything else you do. Why settle for an average bank? Don't just bank when you can bank well instead. Visit mybankwell.com for more. Manfredi New Canaan is celebrating 3 exceptional years selling Rolex watches and fine jewelry to the Fairfield County community. We appreciate all our loyal clients and look forward to welcoming and helping you discover the perfect gift to celebrate life's most important occasions.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Registration is now open for our fitness training programs for high school athletes. The InSports Performance Center is offering blast speed classes, athletic functional movement assessments, and both men's and women's elite speed and strength training. Our premier programs help bring athletes to the next level. Call 203-268-1214 for more information. Like and follow us on Facebook.
Voted best gourmet to go.
Welcome back to this October 12th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski. Forgot the date for a second, but here to remind me of all that's happened on this date in the past is our own Donald Eng with a look back on this day in history.
Well, luckily no one saw me look down and frantically check to make sure I had the correct date here. But we're going to start with 1492. On the Columbus expedition, Rodrigo de Triana, the lookout on the Pinta, sights land in what is now known as the Bahamas. Now, Ferdinand and Isabella had offered a lifelong pension to the first sailor to spot land. Columbus, in his journal, claims that he spotted land first a few hours earlier, kept a reward for himself. Also, when the native people greeted him in friendship, the expedition kidnapped 6 of them and demanded gold for ransom. To 1810 now. Bavarian royalty invites the citizens of Munich to join the celebration of the marriage of Crown Prince Ludwig and Princess Theresa von Sachsen-Hildeshausen, the first Oktoberfest. Today, it is the largest beer and culture festival in the world. About 6 million visitors annually consume 7 million liters of beer. That's actually a little bit less than I would have expected. In case you're wondering, about 3/4 of Oktoberfest actually occurs in September. 1892, the Pledge of Allegiance first recited by students in U.S. public schools as part of a celebration marking the 400th anniversary of Columbus's pledge. I love that little kid in the center there. But interestingly, Columbus never actually set foot in North America, but the pledge is not really recognizable to a modern ear. It was, I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It has been changed since then, as has the salute there for obvious reasons. Finally, now we go to 1997, 20 years ago today for this.
Offshore. The plane was a single-engine, two-seater made out of fiberglass that police say was a type of experimental home-built aircraft. An eyewitness said the plane was flying at about 500 feet. She said she thought it was performing aerobatics when she heard a strange sound.
We were just watching it, and all of a sudden there was a pop and a popping sound, and it kind of went up a little bit and absolutely straight down, not spiraling, just...
Singer John Denver dies when his home-built plane crashes into the Pacific Ocean. He was an experienced pilot, but the plane's builder had modified the design by placing the fuel tank switch in an awkward position above and behind the pilot's left shoulder instead of between the knees where everyone else had put it. Investigators determined that Denver had reached for the switch and accidentally kicked the right rudder pedal, causing the plane to pitch over into the ocean. That is your look back in history for today, October 12th, and I'm Donald Ng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, in Darien, the neighbors of the Oxridge Hunt Club have been among the most vocal during the recent public hearings as the town works to determine uses for the 16-acre parcel of land acquired from the club last year. Now, that land is protected by an open space agreement that prevents certain types of development until 2042, but proposals in the park's master plan suggest establishing multiple athletic fields on that property. The park's master plan represents the town's earliest proposals for the Oxridge property, which have yet to be named. Now, while the Parks and Recreation Department will open the land to the public with the Halloween event on October 29th, the long-term uses have not been determined. Well, during a hearing earlier this month, Saddle Ridge Road resident Jenny Schwartz read a letter signed by more than 150 neighbors of the club expressing their concerns for the property. Now, those neighbors recommended the town take a more minimal approach with the acquired parcel and prevent organized sports from using the field. In their statement, the neighbors suggested the land be made comparable to the open space of New Canaan's Waveney Park, which features jogging trails and a dog park. Well, you can get more on that story at DarienTimes.com. And New Canaan school board members recently thanked Lizette D'Amico, K-12 World Languages and English Language Learner Administrator, and Krista Rizzuti, a K-12 English Language Learners Case Manager, for the work they did at a recent meeting. Now, the two women gave an overview of the many ways they've helped foreign students and their families get acclimated to New Canaan at a Board of Education meeting on October 2nd. D'Amico and Rizzuti explained how they get involved in many aspects of these students' lives, including helping their parents. Now, Superintendent of Schools Dr. Brian Luizzi said the service they render is something that we are all very proud of and thankful for. Now, this year, the district has 52 English language learners, and the administrators expected 3 more in the upcoming weeks. The number of foreign students that have attended New Canaan has not changed, but their needs have changed, according to D'Amico. She said historically, students moving into New Canaan have arrived from settings similar to New Canaan, and they've arrived within the elementary school years. But in the last few years, that's changed as more students are moving from areas that are not similar to New Canaan. For example, the school day is shorter and resources are not as abundant, she said. You can get a lot more on that story at ncadvertiser.com. And in other news, Wilton resident and filmmaker Megan Smith Harris's latest documentary, The Buddy System, will be screened in Wilton Library's Brubeck Room on Saturday, October 14th at 7:30 p.m. as part of the library's New Perspectives documentary series. Now, The Buddy System follows 3 families touched by autism who experienced a remarkable change when a specially trained autism assistance dog comes into their lives. Now, a version of the film was screened at the library last October, which Smith Harris said was very valuable because she was able to receive feedback and make some changes. Now, there's a lot more on that story at wiltonbulletin.com. And finally, 2 bobcat kittens were seen in a Huntington backyard playing on a slide recently. James Melita shared the photo with HAN's Shelton Herald, and you can send all of your autumn and Shelton wildlife photos to editor@sheltonherald.com for a chance to be featured online. Just an adorable photo there. But we're going to throw it over to Frank Granito now, who loves adorable animals, and get a Nutmeg Sports update from him. Right, Frank?
Thank you, Kate. As we take a look at some of the action in the FCAC from Wednesday afternoon, a lot going on in girls soccer, and the Brian McMahon Senators bouncing back off a tough loss earlier this week. They won 4-1 against the West Hill Vikings. Chloe Ortolano scored twice for the Senators. Peyton McNamara and Olivia Leone both adding a goal. Darien and New Canaan in a rivalry match played to a 0-0 draw. Kristen Fiore had 7 saves for the Blue Wave, and Jordan Patterson registered 8 for New Canaan. Wilton topped Greenwich 3-1. Kim Kokenmeister scoring the goal for the Cardinals. Lindsay Groves had 2 for Wilton. Paisley Egan scoring the other Warriors goal. Norwalk blanked Stanford 5-0. Ludlow and St. Joe's played to a 0-0 draw, and Ward topped Trumbull 1-0. The goal in that game coming from Caitlin Walsh. We've got boys soccer coming up this afternoon on the HAN network. 2 of the top 4 teams in the conference battling it out. Stanford will host Norwalk at 4 o'clock. Kevin Coleman and myself will be on the air at 3:45. That's going to do it for this Nutmeg Sports Update. For now, we go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. We're going to step out for a break. When we come back, John Kovach joins me to preview our front pages this week after this.
Wild Birds Unlimited.
At Wild Birds Unlimited of Brookfield, get expert advice from our certified bird feeding specialists. We offer always fresh, clean seed that will be sure to attract birds to your home feeder. Experience our excellent customer service. Open 7 days a week. Visit us at 317 Federal Road, Brookfield.
Wild Birds Unlimited. We bring people and nature together.
If you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Bay Star and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866.
Whether you're looking for a great test prep program, tutoring to boost your grades, or a blast-off tour with the college of your dreams, C2 Education is here to help. There is nothing one-size-fits-all about our programs. We offer customized tutoring and test prep for each student. Call us today at 203-423-3328.
At Rings End, we say it's time to re-love your home. Time to refresh and reinvigorate the way you live. And whether you're redoing something big or small, remember the letters RE stand for Rings End. We're the new model in home remodeling.
UK Gourmet is the largest specialty grocer in the area, featuring food from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Over 80 teas to choose from and a brilliant assortment of biscuits to go with them. Over 70 cheeses from grass-fed cows, which makes a smashing difference in taste. The creamiest chocolate you'll ever taste using no artificial colors or preservatives. So say hooray for UK Gourmet, 78 Stony Hill Road in Bethel, or visit ukgourmet.us.
Welcome back to this Thursday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, joined now by Editorial Director John Kovach to preview our front pages this week. John, what are you looking at first?
I'm looking at Easton, and any doubt that it's fall with the hot temperatures goes away with our front pages. Lots of pumpkins. Here we have puppies and pumpkins in a shop by Alan Sullivan. A story on a hearing on a state law that will allow accessory buildings for disabled people, granny pods they're called in some circles. School officials responding to complaints about psychological abuse. Residents stepping up to fill vacancies on boards and commission, and an open space open house.
All right, taking a look at the Wilton Bulletin this week, a debate at Planning and Zoning over age-restricted overlay districts coming up again. Also some great photos of an event in Wilton, which was the Circle of Care annual fundraising 5K. A lot of nice orange there for the season. Also, YMCA on the grow. The Riverbrook Regional YMCA has applied to expand the building and parking area. And we also have a photo from Minks to Sinks and more on candidates running for Board of Finance.
Stratford was the site of two political events this week. You had the high school, Bunnell High School, hosting a forum for some of the candidates for governors that Kate's video shows was tad raucous the other day. And Republican representatives calling publicly for an override of Governor Malloy's veto of the proposed state budget. Interesting story, John Dempsey was on the town council as a Republican, just primary for a town council spot on the ballot as a Democrat, and after that primary is now running as a Republican to fill a vacancy there, and a man charged with trying to solicit a minor.
All right, taking a look at the Milford Mirror this week. City planning to dredge its downtown duck ponds. More on that this week. We spoke about it earlier on Coffee Break. Residents gather in prayer for Las Vegas victims. United Way setting an optimistic goal for its campaign, aiming to raise $900,000. More on that in the Milford Mirror this week.
Lots of politics in Weston as the League of Women Voters hosted debates. We have coverage of that. How to get an absentee ballot should you need it. A police complaint filed by a candidate for Board of Finance in Weston has been closed, and Weston artists are part of the Art in Bloom show at the Old Town Hall in Wilton, sponsored by the Wilton Garden Club.
All right, taking a look at the Trumbull Times this week. Pastor Timothy Harris showing an inscription on Trumbull Congregational Church's 19th century bell. Very cool there. A fight for 7 districts continues in town. Citizens group to fight on and seek re-argument of their case. Also, Lavoie planning some online forums. He is a candidate for first selectman in Trumbull. And a really cool project, the Clothesline Project, opening up at the Trumbull Library. Just really powerful there. It has to do with domestic violence, and children and adults decorate these shirts that are hanging outside the library.
In Shelton, we have a resident who uses music to try to help those with disabilities. The superintendent of schools has had his contract extended through the year 2020. A man arrested for failing to register as a sex offender. 2 residents who are working to raise money for victims of the hurricane in Puerto Rico, and support being shown by youth football for the Valley Goes Pink breast cancer awareness effort.
All right, taking a look at the Reading pilot this week. Julia Pemberton, First Selectman, hosting a program on economic development in Reading. Also, Finance Board weighing sewage plant improvements. A group starting in Reading aimed at promoting cooperation between town boards and educate the public on issues. That's going to be called the Reading Civic League. And an interesting story of a Reading man leading a grassroots effort to get Amazon in Connecticut. There is a lot of states, a lot of places vying for Amazon.
Everybody wants Amazon.
Yeah, but we might as well get in the mix, right?
In Monroe, the town council has approved funds for a cafe for senior citizens. Stepney Baptist Church has unveiled its renovated, lighter, brighter interior. The League of Women Voters will hold a debate for first selectman candidates. That will be tonight, October 12th at 7 p.m. And local restaurants will offer their wares during Monroe's Restaurant Week.
All right, taking a look at the New Canaan Advertiser this week. Home sales up again in lower price ranges in New Canaan. FOI requests at a 10-year high. Interesting story there. Candidate for First Selectman Kit Devereaux, a profile on her. And tailgate for Waveney Park Restoration was a successful event.
More pumpkins in Darien. Great picture there, that from Nielsen's Florist. An appointment to the Housing Authority. The Board of Education getting an update on the new alternative education offered at Fitch Academy. The Board of Ed taking a look at its financial situation, and a story you just brought us on Coffee Break, and that's neighbors' reaction to the town purchasing property from the Oxridge Hunt Club.
All right, taking a look at the Ridgefield Press, a great photo by Mac Reed of 2-year-old William Safinoff climbing among the pumpkins at Jesse Lee Methodist Church. Also, Fall Festival aiming to keep love strong. More on that event coming up. Route 7 closing almost close to the end with a major state project there, so people are happy to hear about that. Also, school start time survey results receive special meeting on Monday, so I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that quite soon.
Some ideas and recipes for apples and how to be a good witch, a play, not a how-to, on the front of our Arts and Leisure.
All right, well, taking a look at Home Monthly, also out in our papers this week. Mark P. Finley, captain of architectural industry, which way to the party, and tailgating, let the games begin. So a lot of fun stuff in the Home Monthly. All right, and John, we do not have a Yankee Fisherman coming up today.
No Yankee Fisherman today at 1, so you can catch up on some of the older shows. We do have boys soccer coming up at 4. That will be Norwalk at Stamford, and talking to Kevin Coleman on Nutmeg Sports yesterday, he thinks that's going to be an action-packed game.
Yeah, and we don't have coffee break tomorrow, but we have a really busy weekend of football, yes?
We have Darien visiting Staples as the Wreckers try to respond from last week's loss to Ridgefield. And then the Marinelli Bowl, some call it. They would rather move on and keep the focus on the kids. And it's two teams that are in the focus. New Canaan visits Greenwich. We'll have tailgate at 2 o'clock.
2:30 or
2:30.
Yep.
And then we will have kickoff Saturday, 4 o'clock, live from Cardinal Stadium in Greenwich.
All right, so that's everything coming up this weekend. Coming up right after coffee break at noon, Straight Talk with Tracy, a Silver Hill Hospital production. Brand new episode. Be sure to check it out. They're joined by a guest from the Youth Mental Health Project. Really great organization, local. So we're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break. Check us out this weekend. A lot coming up. We'll see you for your coffee break Monday at 11. Have a great day.